Greetings, everybody. This is Roger Thunderhands Gilbert. My friends call me Thunder. I wanted to talk today about Prophecy Rock, which is a petroglyph that is found in Arizona on the Hopi reservation. And I also want to talk about their blue star Kachina, and I have a little Kachina here that was passed on to me from my mother. It's over 70 years old, probably, from Arizona and from the Hopi people. And it looks like it could very possibly be the blue star Kachina. So we'll talk about that. If you want to refer to the picture, the thumbnail of this video, that's Prophecy Rock. And as I talk about it, you may want to look at it, or you could look at it later. And I'll just go over some of the things that one of the great Hopi elders, Thomas Bayanka, or Bayankya, talked about it, and maybe some of my own personal reflections or feelings about it. Number one, I feel it's very relevant for right now because I think things are culminating. And I think this because of what the Hopi elders say and the Hopi people say in this petroglyph that you're looking at called Prophecy Rock. So, a lot of people don't know about this, and so I thought I'd turn them on to it. So looking at the picture, you have the man there holding on to a staff that is projected upwards and into a square that's leaning sideways, and then there's two lines coming off that, the upper line and the lower line. And this is the creator, Masao, and he's holding a bow in his right hand, and his left hand is holding on to the staff going up to the box, which is a kiva, or it could be a pueblo of the people. And then the two lines coming off that are the two different lifelines or history lines or future lines, whatever you want to call them, that depict the two different ways that man can go. The top line represents, it has, if you look at it, it has three people holding hands, and then it has another person that has two heads at the very end, and then there's a little squiggly line there. And then below that you have another line. The top line represents materialism, and the bottom line represents the Hopi way of non-materialism and living in accordance with nature. Now, the three circles on the lower line represent, supposedly, the three worlds, or it could represent three world wars, as interpreted by Thomas. And then at the end you see a person planting corn or living in harmony with Corn Mother or the earth. And then the line continues to go on. The lower line is extended, whereas the top line is not extended and ends with a squiggly little line up there. Now the last person on that upper line is having two heads, is said to represent two hearts. Okay, one heart could be for materialism and the other heart for living the traditional ways. And so a decision has to be made in regards to which way mankind wants to go. Now, right before that person is a line that extends down. You can see it there. It extends down right after the third person, extends down to the lower worldview, which is kind of a last chance for mankind to make up his mind about which way they want to go. Do they want to go the materialistic way and the technology way, which leads off into destruction because that line ends? And my thoughts on that wavy line at the end could mean a lot of different things. I look at it as it could mean a sudden vibration, okay, vibratory change. That's the way I see it, and what form that's going to take could be any number of things. It could be increased vibration with a nuclear blast, or it could be increased vibration of the planet. Okay, an increasing of instability. I think we see that now, and the Hopi people talked about all these different things that would happen near the purification time or emergence time from one world to the other. Okay, and so now we're emerging, or we're about ready to emerge into another world, which was done many times before. Well, not many times, 3 times according to Hopi prophecy. And we're about ready to emerge again into another world. But I'll leave that for another time. That gets a little complicated. You can look at my video on the Hopi, which explains it in depth. I'll put a link down here, hopefully. So anyway, people, this is, and then also I want to cover the little cross there right next to the circle. The circle is like emerging from the lower world into the upper worlds. The cross is Christianity, which they saw coming and didn't like, and was associated with, somehow associated with the upper worldview, which is technology and the white man's ways and his religion and avoidance of the old ways. So we're at a point right now where the Hopi have prophesied that there's going to be a purification, and that purification probably will come about from a nuclear event. Okay. Now the Hopi say that the only place on this earth that's safe is their lands out in the mesas in the Four Corners area. That could very well be true. But don't plan on going there, because the Hopi reservation is very small, and they're very private people, and they don't allow people out there just to go gallivanting around and thinking they're going to live there or anything. But that's not to say that they don't welcome people. Excuse me. That's not to say they don't welcome people. They do. In fact, they predicted a long time ago that the long-haired ones, or the people with long hair, would be sympathetic. I imagine that's the young people. Could have been in the 60s generation that was sympathetic to them and wanted to learn their ways. Or it could be just people. Long hair could represent people that I feel that are in tune with the native people, because they wear their hair long, and so do people usually that have a more earthy point of view have long hair. Okay, but tribal people have long hair, and people that are in sympathy or more And they call them hippies, or they could call them earth people, or they could call them tree huggers, or whatever you want to call them, are more in sympathy with the non-materialistic way in living next to the earth. So this is something to think about, because also I said before I wanted to talk about the blue star Kachina. In the blue star Kachina is another prophecy that is now see, some of these prophecies you have to, this prophecy here is written in stone, no pun intended, there it is, passed down from Hopi elder to Hopi elder, there it is in stone. But some of it is hearsay, some of it is passed on, like the prophecies of Whitefeather, who supposedly was picked up on a highway by a priest. Okay, so this is hearsay, but it's been accepted pretty much because the stuff has come true, and it's been accepted. So take it with a grain of salt, but all of these things, all of these prophecies come to us for a reason, I suppose. And that reason would be, what are we going to do, people? Now, when you look at the prophecies, things were, especially by Whitefeather, were said about, the coming of highways and the coming of civilization, and then a lot of things were talked about concerning the gourd of ashes. The gourd of ashes being nuclear development, the atomic bomb, the hydrogen bomb. And basically that was pointed to as our downfall. Technology, definitely, okay. So when you look at the prophecy rock and you see the materialistic upper worldview and what's going to happen there, well, what is associated with technology? Well, all these things like the hydrogen bomb and nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction and technology that is taking us astray and interfering with weather. They talked about interference with weather. They talked about there being horrific storms, weather being out of balance, all the things that we see happening right now, volcanoes exploding rapidly in succession. We see that now, okay? That's why I'm doing this video. We see a lot of these things happening right now, and we could be in that very, very time they talked about purification and emergence into another world. And some say that there are a lot of plants and species that are showing up that are not really of this world, that are just all of a sudden showing up, that could be of another world, which could be preparing us for wherever mankind's going. So this blue star Kachina, let me get back to that. The blue star Kachina, I know I got off topic there a little bit, but the blue star Kachina is something that could, is going to come from the heavens, okay? And some people, it would fall to Earth, and some people said, well, it's the space station. I believe a space station fell and they saw it in Australia. But the Hopi say that it will come from far away, okay? So, and that it will be a dwelling place in the heavens. Excuse me. So, so we'll have to ponder on that, okay, and think about that. Could it be from one of the star systems that they talked about a lot? They talked about the Pleiades. They talked about Sirius. Sirius. I don't quite sure how you pronounce that. That star system and other star systems. In fact, they were really into the stars and into astronomy. And the Kachina is a spirit, okay? It's a spirit. And so the blue star Kachina would be a spirit in a sense. And they believe that all things have spirits in them, but the Kachinas do represent spirits. So nobody really knows about the blue star Kachina. The blue star Kachina is said to also represent a time when there would be a dancing in one of their ceremonies, and the mask would be removed to the uninitiated, which is unheard of, and that would end everything. So this could be metaphor, or it could be real. Now, I know a lot of people are looking to the heavens right now and the stars and thinking that could be some incoming body coming this way. That's not totally absurd. It's happened before, could happen again. But this is something that we should ponder right now, because there's a lot of things going on that could point to certain people preparing for this and not telling us, like the government, or preparing not for something that they think is Hopi prophecy, but for something that they see coming that they don't know what it is. I mean, they don't know why it is, or it's beyond their wildest imagination, maybe. I'll leave that for the people that want to posit different theories on things. All I'm saying is that I can see a lot of what they prophesied going on right now and whipping up into an intense mode. And this is way overdue, people. Way, way, way overdue. Not that they put a timeline on it like the Mayans. The Mayans were called the keepers of time, and the Hopi were called the keepers of space. Okay? So they didn't get involved with predictions as years, what year it would be coming. They more or less looked at signs, okay, events that would be a precursor for something happening. So this is something that we need to look at. Sorry about the lighting in here, but the sun goes in and out of the clouds. This is something that we should look at because, again, right now things are happening at what I call a fever pitch. And I was just urged by Spirit to talk about this. I don't know why. But I put great stock in the Hopi people, and I put because I lived there. I was raised around these people. I was raised in that land. And that's where this Kachina came from, that was passed on to me by my mother from Arizona, the arid zone, where we all lived, my family and I. And so I just get urgings, and I get visions, and I get messages to talk about certain things, at certain times. And this is something that I feel is relevant right now. And I think that everybody should look at that prophecy rock, look at the big picture of it. And it's real simple. There's the materialistic technological way that's going to lead to destruction, and the lower world of living next to nature, which is going to increase longevity of man and the world and everything that has to do with our life. And it's real simple. And the change of heart that's needed, well, at a certain point, that line that goes from the top to the bottom, it's going to be past the point where you can change your heart. Okay. And in my last video, I talked about where is your heart. I ended with that sentence or that thought. And I think that people really need to think about that a lot right now. Because whatever's going to come down, it's whether you, I won't even say survive, well, you know, whether you're in accordance with what the ancients or the Pueblo or the Anasazi or the people that lived here, like I said in my last video, for thousands and thousands of years, and who know and who have the wisdom, which way do you want to go? And if it comes down, it's whether you quote unquote survive or whatever, or where you go after this, whatever. Where's your heart? Where was it when you left this realm, or where is it as you continue on in this realm? And to me, where your heart is the very most important thing. And I don't know if I'm going to see emergence in my lifetime, but I'm going to emerge one way or the other. And I hope that I'm doing some good here as far as spreading a message that I feel is very important, and that is pick a worldview, people. Do you want the materialistic, technological, dead end, or do you want the extended version of the worldview, which is living in accordance and harmony with Earth Mother? And as far as I'm concerned, I choose the latter. Okay, and I hope that all you out there think about this video and think about the fact that purification could be upon us real soon here. Just my personal thoughts. I'm not putting a date out there. I'm just looking around and going, wow. Everything they said has already happened, basically, and what's left to happen? I mean, I could go deeper and deeper into their prophecy. But again, there's plenty of people doing that, and I have my video out there about the Hopi people, which, again, I'll put a link to here if you want to watch it. It's an hour long. It's like a documentary. But I just thought I would update and educate people on a real quick video here about Prophecy Rock and the Blue Star Kachina. And again, the Blue Star Kachina is something that could show up. A lot of people think it already has. I'm kind of the opinion that it could show up any day. And it would be probably coming from the heavens, coming from the sky. And it could be, well, there's not too many things that come from the sky, is there? So anyway, I'm out of here. I thought I'd present that today, and peace unto you people. Later.